My name is Lauren. I grew up in a small house filled with the smell of fresh bread. My dad, Tyler, ran the family bakery, pouring his heart into kneading dough and baking pastries. My mom, Joyce, was different. An ambitious realtor, always in high heels, always in a hurry. Money was never enough for her. One evening, as I set the dinner table, I heard them arguing again. "Another slow month, Tyler?" Mom snapped. "When will you get it together?" Dad's voice was calm, almost pleading. "Please, Joyce, not in front of Lauren." But she didn't care. She never did. I gripped the table's edge, my small fingers turning white. "She should know what a failure you are," Mom continued, pouring herself a glass of wine. My hands shook as I tried to serve her, spilling a few drops onto the tablecloth. Her eyes narrowed. "You useless girl," she hissed. Dad stepped in. "It's just a little wine, Joyce." But Mom was relentless. "No wonder she's turning out as pathetic as you." I ran to my room, burying my face in my pillow. Why did he let her treat him like this? Why did I feel invisible in my own home? The next morning, the house was eerily silent. No smell of baking bread. No sound of Mom's heels clicking. I found Dad at the kitchen table, staring at a note. "Where's Mom?" I whispered, though I already knew. He handed me the letter. It was in her neat, cold handwriting. "Tyler, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving with Larry. He can give me the life I want. Lauren, don't bother looking for me. You're just dead weight." I read it again, hoping I misunderstood. But no, she was gone, and her parting words cut deeper than I could ever explain. The next few months were a blur of courtrooms and whispered conversations. Mom never showed up to fight for custody. Dad squeezed my hand when the judge finalized it. "It's just you and me now, Lauren." He worked harder than ever, throwing himself into the bakery, and I took over running the house. By 14, I was cooking, cleaning, and making sure bills were paid. Life was exhausting, but we managed. Then, on the night of my 16th birthday, Dad came home pale, holding a letter. "Uncle Ryan passed away," he said, "and he left me everything. Almost $500,000. For the first time in years, money wasn't a problem. Dad invested in the bakery, new ovens, a fresh menu. The shop became a sensation. Soon, there was a second location, then a third. At 17, I finally felt secure. No more worry about bills, no more leftover bread for dinner. We even took a trip to Europe, just the two of us. As the years passed, my mother became nothing more than a bad memory. But memories don't stay buried forever. They resurface when you least expect them, when life is finally calm, and you believe you're safe. By the time I was 34, I had built my own success. I owned multiple rental properties and worked as a financial analyst. Life was good. Then, one night, my phone rang. "Lauren?" Dad's voice sounded strange. "Can you come over?" My heart pounded. When I arrived, he looked older than I remembered, as if time had stolen years in a single night. "It's cancer, sweetheart. Stage 4. The world shifted beneath me. "No," I whispered. "We'll get a second opinion." But he shook his head. 5 months, Lauren, maybe less. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't ready to lose him. The following months were filled with hospital visits, treatments, and waiting. Some days he felt strong enough to laugh. Others, he couldn't even get out of bed. I made his favorite soup, even when he was too sick to eat. Then one evening, he patted the couch beside him. "Lauren, I need to talk to you." I swallowed hard. "I'm selling the bakeries. The money's yours. You'll be set for life." I shook my head, tears burning my eyes. "I don't want your money, Dad. I want you." He smiled softly. "I know, but this is my way of taking care of you." 6 months later, on a quiet Sunday morning, he was gone. The funeral was a blur. His absence was suffocating. I sat in his empty house, holding his favorite apron, inhaling the faint scent of sugar and flour. The lawyer had already been by with the paperwork. Everything was mine now. I should have felt relief, but all I felt was loss. Just as I began finding my footing again, my past came crashing back in the form of a single phone call, a voice I hadn't heard in decades. "Lauren," my mother said, too sweetly, "I'm back in town." I should have hung up. I should have ignored her. But the little girl inside me still longed for answers. "Let's meet," I said, shocking myself. The next day, I arrived at the cafe, stomach twisting. She walked in, older but still elegant. But she wasn't alone. A young girl, 18 at most, followed her. "Lauren, darling," Mom cooed. "This is Anna, your sister." I blinked. My sister? Mom leaned in, voice dripping with hope. "I heard you have rental properties. I was wondering—" She trailed off, but I knew what she wanted. Money. Always money. I looked at Anna, nervous, avoiding my eyes. Was she just another pawn in Mom's games? Against my better judgment, I offered them an apartment. "Just utilities," I said firmly. Mom beamed. "Oh, Lauren, you're an angel." But as weeks passed, I noticed something. Mom never asked about my life, my grief, my struggles. She only called when she needed something. Then one day she showed up at my door, furious. "I know about the other apartments," she spat. "You're living like royalty while we scrape by. Half of them should be mine." My blood ran cold. Here we go again. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You lost any claim to my life when you abandoned me." Her tone turned sickly sweet. "Think of Anna. She needs tuition money." I shook my head. "Anna's education is not my responsibility." Her face twisted in rage. "You ungrateful brat, after everything I've done for you?" My temper snapped. "Everything you've done for me? Like leaving me with a note?" The mask cracked. She lunged, but I stepped back. "Enough," I said. "You have 31 days to leave." I handed her the eviction notice. This time, I was the one walking away. The next morning, whispers followed me. Strangers glared. Friends stopped calling. Then I saw it, the tweet. "My daughter Lauren has 5 apartments and refuses to help her struggling mother and sister. She's forcing me to pay rent when I can barely survive." The comments were brutal. My boss called me in. "Fix this," he warned. That night I called Mom. "Your utilities are unpaid," she scoffed. "You can afford it." Something inside me broke. If she wanted war, she'd get it. My lawyer was blunt. "You have every right to evict her." I filed the paperwork. When I served her, she shrieked, "You won't dare take me to court." I stared at her, unwavering. "Watch me." The courtroom was tense. Mom sat across from me, crocodile tears in her eyes. "Your Honor," she sniffled, "my daughter has turned her back on me. She's throwing her own mother and sister onto the streets after everything I've done for her." I clenched my fists, willing myself to stay calm. My lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we have evidence that tells a different story." He laid out the facts: Mom's abandonment, the termination of her parental rights, her failure to pay child support, and the months of unpaid utilities. Then came the final blow. "Additionally, we've discovered Mrs. Stevens owns another apartment, which she rents out for profit." The courtroom fell silent. Mom's face drained of color. The judge turned to her, voice stern. "Is this true, Mrs. Stevens?" She opened and closed her mouth before whispering, "Yes, Your Honor." His expression hardened. "This court grants the eviction. Furthermore, Mrs. Stevens will pay back rent for her time in the apartment. This behavior is unacceptable." The gavel struck, sealing her fate. As we walked out, I saw Anna standing hesitantly near the door. My heart ached for her. "Anna," I said gently, "if you ever need real help, reach out." Tears welled in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Lauren," she whispered. In the weeks that followed, Mom and Anna moved out. I heard they relocated to her other property. I didn't try to contact them, and they didn't reach out to me either. Standing in the now empty apartment, memories flooded me. The hope I felt when Mom returned, the pain of her betrayal, the stress of the court case. But beneath it all, something felt different, lighter, freer. I had finally broken her hold on me. I took a deep breath, stepping into the next phase of my life. The past was behind me, and for the first time, the future